What's the mood around the team now after the elimination's official decision?
The mood's been the same. We understand that we have a responsibility to finish strong at home. We have the responsibility to put together a good performance that leads to a good result and gives us a possibility to finish a season in which there's a lot of things that we must absorb, reflect, and get better, and finish up a season in front of our fans, and that we're able to send them home with a good result and a good performance. That's the importance of this week, and the mood has stayed the same.
It's been, almost 2 months now since you arrived. What are some of those reflections that you'll take into next year?
There's a lot of things, right? We as soon as the year's done, obviously we'll reflect more, but we just have to make sure. I said it after the game. I don't ever wanna forget how I felt after the RGV game. This is something that we have to make sure that it never happens again, and in order to do that, we have to prepare and make sure that every decision we make, it makes sense moving forward, and every decision we make it thinking on the organization, on the team that we represent, and understanding that we must be better, that we got to be better, and I can guarantee you that we're going to be better next year.
Do you think the players are looking towards next season a bit with this next game and thinking about where their futures might lie?
It's normal. Players, for us, staff, for absolutely everybody. This is the profession that we chose, and the players inside of that locker room understand that very well. But like I said to you, we're focusing on this week. We're focusing on making sure that we finish strong at home versus a rival that is doing a very good job. I think they played. I enjoy watching them play. It's a young group of players that plays very well, and it's also coached by someone that I respect, and that, like I said, I enjoy watching them play. It's not going to be an easy match on Saturday night.
From a roster construction perspective, are there any lessons that you see from this year that you guys can take into next year about just ways to build the team differently?
Yes, absolutely. But again, my fully focus is on Atlanta right now. My fully focus is on making sure that we finish strong at home, making sure that we get 3 points, that we win, and that we put together a very good performance in front of our fans, our family, and supporters are going to be here on Saturday night. Then after Saturday night, I can guarantee you that I'll get in the office and then I'll start thinking about next year. But first, we have Atlanta.
What are some of those roster lessons? I know you haven't thought about it too much, but if you have any that come to mind.
Well, we just have to make sure, especially for next year, that we're able to build, not thinking short term. It's being able to build and build a platform that gives us the ability to build something that is going to give us longevity over many years. Building a solid structure in which we can start the construction of a project that it's hopefully going to give us the ability to be successful for many years to come. In order to do that, we have to build a team that reflects the identity of the organization, that reflects the identity of our fan base and supporters, and we have to make sure that we have a clear style of play, identity, and game model. After we have identified that, which I truly believe we've had in the past games, is making sure that we start targeting and identifying players that fit that game model. And that's how you start building, and then you just have to make sure that you make the right decisions about the players that you're going to bring in, not just on the field, but also off the field. We want to bring in character, and like I said, we want to bring in people that understand the organization that we're representing.
What is that style model that you've developed?
We want to be possession-based. We want to be a team that is able to stretch teams out through possession, absorb pressure, and be able to play through lines. We're very offensive-minded, but we don't want to lose the ability to be able to defend. And especially in this league, there's many good teams now. There's many good coaches and players, and there's games that you're gonna suffer. There's games that you're gonna be demanded to defend. So we can't just think offensively. We also have to make sure that we can build a team that, in tough moments, has the ability to defend and defend well.
Looking back at that last game, though, now you've had an opportunity to watch the game back. Is there anything else that you've picked out where things didn't go as well as they could have?
Yes, now, and that's a good question. I think right after games, the emotions are very high, right? And right when we talk right after games, I think the talks are a bit more emotional than logical. Right after the game, when you sit down and probably you watch the game once or or you watch some clips after the staff has clipped it for a second or third time, you start making more logical decisions, and you see things with more perspective. For times we're very good, man. We were good in possession. We were good stretching the team. Possession that was leading to us to arrive to the final third of the field with the ball under control. Now, in the final third, we got to be better, right? We have to take more risk. We have to make sure that we're more successful in our 1v1s. We have to make sure that we deliver earlier crosses that can lead to more scoring opportunities. To me, you cannot go to RGV and have 71 possession of the ball and complete over, 400 plus passes. And if you do that, you should be able to create more. So that's what I take from that game, is that we were good onto the last final third, in which we still created a few chances, but we should have been able to create more on the way that we played. And again, I know I've mentioned this to you many times, or to all of you guys, is we have to start avoiding those transition moments in which we're building out at times, and it's just cheap or easy giveaways. And again, I can show you 2 clips from this first game, and it's exactly the same players, it's exactly the same game, and it will be hard to recognize. To say, okay, this is a different team. No, it's the same team. It's just that sometimes we look very good, and other times we just look poor. And it's that part of the process. It's a process. Process takes time. Process takes a lot of work. And what I'll take from this is that the guys are bought in. The guys are absorbing the idea, and they're trying to do what we're being asked. I know mistakes are going to happen. It's part of the process. We just have to make sure that we keep believing and working a lot here on the pitch to avoid those things and keep getting stronger at the things that we're doing well.
I was going to ask about the defensive shakiness. Do you think it comes down to losing the ball in those transition moments, or is there something else to it?
What do you mean by defensive shakiness?
Well, I mean, just like outside of the Sacramento game, I don't think it's been a clean sheet in a few months. Just giving up 2-3 goals too often. What do you think that comes down to?
So when you mean by shakiness, is about the goals that we have conceded?
Yeah. Just allowing too many goals. Yeah,
it's a fair question. I think if you see the way the goals are coming, it's more of us trying to avoid the other team, or giving the other team the opportunity to hurt us that way, right? Versus Monterrey, it was clearly transitions. Last game, it was again those transition moments that, listen, at times they finish in goals, other times Ben makes a spectacular save. But my problem, and what bothers me, is that creates that insecurity when you're building out of the back and you're creating these mistakes that end up in transition moments to go, that then the guys start doubting. And for a few minutes, then they don't want to play as we want to play anymore. They want to be a bit more safe, or move the ball quicker before driving at someone to move a player from the opposition. So when you mean shakiness, what I see as shakiness is creating or making those mistakes that then lead to a few minutes of the game that we could call it a bit of panic or a bit of confusion, because the players then don't want to keep making mistakes. So we have to try to avoid that. And again, the only reason I know how to avoid that is behind me. Is working a lot, and is making sure that we watch a lot of video, and that we keep emphasizing on the way that we want to play, and not just attack but also defend.
Are you expecting James to be available for this weekend?
We will see. We're trying to do everything we can to have him healthy, and we'll see what the end of the week gives us.
And then obviously there are some players that haven't seen the pitch a lot this season, or at all, I guess, if you take Niall Dunn as an example. Should we expect to maybe see them, given there's not a huge amount at stake?
So every player that steps on the field for this organization has to earn the right to step on the field. Every person in this organization, staff member, coaching staff, or player that is here has to earn the right to be here. So we're just going to compete again for this week like we've always done. And the players that are doing better, the players that are working hard and that earn the opportunity to step on the field, will step on the field versus Atlanta.
And what are you expecting to see Atlanta come here with?
I think it's going to be a possession-based team, very similar to ours. I think they're going to try to build out of the back. They're going to try to play through lines. And once they hopefully they don't stretch us, because if they stretch us, they're going to be very vertical. And they have players that are living a good moment as well. Like I said, I've enjoyed watching them play before I played them in the other team that I was, and even now that I've shared a few comments with the coach from their team, and we have similar ideas of how we see the game, and we have a very, very similar game model. So again, I think it's going to be a It's going to be a fun game, but also it's going to be a very difficult match in which if we're not sharp, if we're not ready, and if we don't come in to compete, this is a team that can give us a very hard time because they beat a good LA Galaxy last week.
And they've struggled a lot this season in terms of results. So what do you think they did well in that game against LA Galaxy too?
Well, it's believing. It's believing in their game model, believing in their idea. It's a young group. It's a young group of very talented players in which sometimes they change players because they could move them up and down, or he doesn't know who he's going to have available. And at sometimes where you're young, you could be a bit naive as well. So if you've seen some naive mistakes in their games that lead to goals, and then it's hard for them to come back after those, especially with a lot of young players on the field. So this is what I think they've been up and down. But if you watch them play closely, it's a very good team, man. It's a good team full of young, talented players. And again, I understand the responsibility that we have, and we have the responsibility to show up and make sure that we get the job done. But I'm just letting you guys know, like I let the players know, it's not going to be an easy game.
And then, obviously, nothing really at stake for this game. What would you say to the fans to encourage them to still come out for this one?
To the fans, is they will come out. They will come out. They will support. They support. They understand the organization that we represent, and they've been here all year, and I'm sure they're going to be here again on Saturday. I would tell them to keep walking with their head high, because I'm not defeated, and this organization is not defeated. Yes, we battled adversity all year, and we've been battling adversity for the past few months, but we're not done. I can guarantee them that we're going to be able to bounce back from this, and what happened this year, it's not going to get us weaker. It's going to get us a lot stronger. I don't feel weak. I don't feel tired. I know there's a lot of work to do, and I can guarantee you that we're going to be able to bounce back and be able to build something very, very important that we all feel proud of. And hopefully in a year we're thinking about what happened this year, and we're going to understand that maybe it was necessary to get to where we wanted to be.